fam, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. We out here. This episode is gonna be a little longer. We're gonna be reacting to TikToks and independent media. We're gonna be kind of like on the more serious side, on the more political and like watching stuff that's more serious. You know, by the way, I didn't say this. I haven't seen any of these videos, so I'm actually like reacting. I guess I haven't told y'all, but I'm reacting in case you didn't notice. But this time, I'm kind of like a producer basically. Before I was just a reactor. Now I'm reacting and producing. So it's cool, yo. Your boy doing what a boy be doing. You feel me? So anyway, we're gonna get into the videos ASAP. Just let me put on my earphones. Also check out the merch real quick. The little heado. Alright, let's do this.
This connection to Alexander.
Conquer the Hill and return Donald Trump. That was their strategy. That was their focus. They wanted to overthrow.
Shout out Roland Martin. I love you, Roland Martin.
And simple, Candace.
And the same.
Shout out Roland Martin.
Lauren, go ahead.
They're saying it right on the video. I mean, I'm wondering when the FBI is going to be talking to these people. If that's not sedition,
She's just
I don't know
shaking her
what
head.
it is. And they've been saying this for a while. Because what made this invalid to them, of course, was black voters deciding this election.
You see her frustration in
in
her eyes. She's
Atlanta,
like,
in Philly, in Milwaukee. That's what they can't stand.
Yeah.
That's what they can't get over. You know, that's their definition of, you know, there's a problem with the election. And they're saying it right there, and I'm telling you, if the FBI is not having conversations with them, I don't know what it takes. If that's not sedition, if that's not treason, I don't know what it takes.
Agreed. And online, we could see the reconnaissance plan before it happened on Twitter.
Sedition. Alright, next video. Sedition. So I guess it's a Roland Martin video about what happened in the Capitol building on January 6th, I think it was the date. So yeah, sedition. That's a big word. Sedition. Prediction. Incision. White supremacy made an incision. And now it's being called sedition. That's because they're racist. Ooh, boom. Bars. But for real though, SMH. Next one.
I'm sorry, Mel. Go ahead. I think
nice.
what Felicia and Helen and Mel, you're really saying is
nice
one, we have
chefs
to
in the
continue
back.
to work and fight in the ground. But and to the point of black men, we appreciate black men. Although black women are having this celebratory moment, we can't do nothing without the brothers. So whether it's John Taylor, Hank Stewart, Cliff Albright, you know, Joe Caldwell, brothers have stood by us, held us up. You know, I have a little squad at stand up. I tell you, I can't do nothing without those brothers.
That's
so
true.
No slight to any of the brothers, Mr. Scott and all the brothers that support us. We appreciate that. But at this moment, we need to be also clear that our safety is at danger, in danger. But we have the Second Amendment, and so we need to be clear that we need to protect our families.
That's for black people too, right? Is that what
exactly, and that may look different, and people don't want to necessarily hear about black people carrying guns, but we are in the South, right? And so what I say is protect yourself and your families first. But the other thing to it is our democracy is at stake, but we have an opportunity. We won, y'all. We have an opportunity to change policy and to change the way this country is operating. And so that means we have to make sure that there's a progressive agenda that they can speak to. So whether it's the John Lewis Act, whether it's the George Floyd Act, whether it's all of these voter suppression pieces that we have to kill, this is the time for the policy discussion and the policy agenda, supporting Congressional Black Caucus, supporting Win with Black Women, other women that are out there, LaTosha Brown and Cliff Albright. We need to come together in a way that we never have been before, because they're scared of us, y'all. They're scared, and they should be, because if you do right by people, you won't have to fear them being in power. We are a gracious and an honorable people. We're not going to do you like you did us, but we're going to take care of our people. And so whether it's the Biden administration or white supremacy, we need to make sure that we're clear that the black community is unified and will stay unified for our own survival.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a great way to end that, right? Any other? We got to give it one round of questions. One other thing that you brought it
definitely
up,
Second Amendment. It's so crazy because when you be growing up, like in LA, to have a gun is such a like, it's like a mix. It's like it's illegal, but it's also not illegal, and then depending like where you're from, because I be in the hood, so like in the hood you be seeing guns, but these guns aren't legal, know what I'm saying? And then you be seeing guns and you're like, bruh, it's not legal. So it's like, what I'm trying to say is like, why do people do that? See, I'm saying that our Second Amendment right in places like LA, you gotta exercise it. Why are you getting guns that aren't legal? Get a legal gun because you have your Second Amendment right. Like, why is it that? And then the thing is that if you're gonna get a gun, it's not a big deal to get a gun, bro. A car is like a gun. You could kill people with a car. You could kill people with all kinds of shit. You know, like a car is the best example. And I'm trying to say that just because a gun kills people doesn't mean that that's how you should look at it. You should look at it as you exercising your right, and you should look at it as you exercising one of your most fundamental rights. And the thing is that like people don't see it like that. People don't see it as like, people see it like, oh, I'm gonna get a gun and I'm gonna like show it off. Like, oh, I'm gonna show off my gun and take pictures of it. Nah, bro, like the reason to have one is because like, why aren't you gonna exercise your rights? You know why not? Because you're not used to it. And the thing is that like, I feel like, that's how I feel. But I feel like that kind of lines up with her ideas of like, we gotta, aside from the fact that it's our right, but like, why is it our right? It's because we're supposed to protect our family, supposedly, and to protect us. And I'm saying, well, yeah, basically that's what you do. You protect yourself. But at the end of the day, we know some people are not getting guns to protect themselves. You know what I'm saying? But even though, the point is, you gotta do it for that reason. We all gotta do it for that reason. And especially if you're black, because as she was stating, you're constantly in danger. And if you're another group that's in danger, like say you're queer, then you also should have a gun. Like really. Or if you're a woman, or if you're black, a woman and queer, bruh, have 2 guns. Have a gang with you at all times. But I don't mean like a boo-boo gang. I mean like a gang you made up with your homies. I'm just playing. I mean have a squad. I don't mean have a gang. You know what I'm saying? It's saying gang because we all packing. But that's what I'm saying. Everyone should be packing. That's what she's saying. She's saying, hey, y'all girlfriends, I'm packing. Are y'all packing? That's what she said. Her whole thing was, I'm packing. Are y'all packing? Like she had a whole thing. She could have just said that. I'm just playing. But and then she said nothing. She said we won. That's the thing. We won. Like we won. Like we shouldn't be afraid to exercise our rights, and we shouldn't be afraid to experiment on stuff we never done. You feel? With Biden winning, you know, black and brown people won. So why is it that we're afraid to exercise our rights on that way? Like if we're willing to go protest, we should be willing to arm ourselves. All right, next video. Getting deep. All right, sugar. TikToks.
Hey, shout out to the Latin American community, the Mexican people, man. Y'all really, when you say you're gonna do something, you do something. Y'all said y'all was gonna boycott Goya, and you did. Because all of that is fully stocked, and everything else is empty.
I wonder where that's at.
I love when Americans respond to my post and are like, history teachers don't know everything, but also let me respond to your biased opinion with a little American propaganda.
Teachers don't know everything about history. I'm going to address 2 of your incredibly wrong...
Okay, I'll bite. So not only am I a history teacher, but I also have 2 master's degrees in Canadian American history. And I also still don't pretend like I know everything, but I also don't retort with a little propaganda. One of the greatest lies of U.S. propaganda is that there was only 2 options to deal with Japan in World War II. Americans' own intel says there's at least 4 different options. And that figure of 2 million is an exaggerated figure. It's actually more around 1.2, and even that is believed to be exaggerated. Additionally, you have 2 of the main decision makers, Dwight Eisenhower Eisenhower and Admiral Leahy,
Also,
who
fun
were
fact,
against
Truman
the
had
bombing
no
of
idea.
Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Furthermore, the occupation of Manchuria by the USSR was far more influential in forcing the emperor to consider surrender. That's why the second bomb was dropped while they were meeting. Like, the world outside of US academia is actually quite interesting. You should read another book or something.
DC residents are fed up with delusional right-wing rioters destroying the city in hopes of overturning the election.
Out of town! Fucking treasonous pieces of shit!
I know! They really destroying our city!
City, and it's like nobody gives a shit. Next hour's Black Lives Matter. They got tanks rolling down Pennsylvania Avenue, but they let these fucking crackers take over the goddamn Capitol.
That's true.
What the
Like, don't.
It makes me teary-eyed. Yeah, because when it was us, Black Lives Matter, we couldn't even do nothing.
He doesn't have Twitter. He doesn't go on
Pro-Trump
Twitter.
supporters busted into federal buildings and vandalized public property as authorities seemed incapable of acting, unlike the violent policing of Black Lives Matter protests.
Instead of tweeting, I'm gonna just open my door and yell at the top of my lungs. I love this guy's a mood like this. Oh. No, yeah. I guess, like, for me, that's such a given. Like, I already know that. So I try not to think about it, because me too, I get teary-eyed. So, I already know that, B.
I do not believe for a fucking minute that the FBI needs our help to find the insurrectionists. Y'all found Black Lives Matter protesters based on Etsy purchases and LinkedIn profiles. What they need is to get us used to snitching on folks. To be clear, I'm not saying that these people shouldn't absolutely be arrested. I'm just saying the FBI does not need our help to do it.
Need our help. I feel that.
Hey, so the next time your MAGA relative tries to disparage AOC for her lack of accomplishments before coming to Congress, try informing them about current MAGA darling, Madison Cawthorn. Let's start by saying AOC was a science geek in high school and won a prize at the largest pre-college science event in the world. She then graduated cum laude from Boston University with a double major in international relations and economics before moving back to the Bronx after her dad died at 48 and bartended to help her family make ends meet. Now compare that to the homeschooled Madison Cawthorn, who was nominated for the Naval Academy and claims on his website that his plans were derailed after an automobile accident, even though in a 2017 sworn deposition, Cawthorn admitted that his application to the Academy had already been rejected before the crash. He then went to Patrick Henry College, but dropped out after one semester where he earned mostly D's. During that deposition, he testified that he had no job, but in 2019 claimed he created an investment firm, but reported no income from it.
Oh no. Oh no. That's dirty. Yeah, fuck that Republican. What we can talk about, yeah. And at the same time,
he's the youngest representative ever. He beat her record.
Yeah?
Yeah. But that's the only thing he's younger than AOC.
That's the only thing that's kind of like cool about him.
That's the only reason he's notable.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise he would just be a standard Republican.
Oh yeah? Standard Republican, except you're young. Oh, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. That
exists.
He's showing that
that exists.
The biggest young group of young people that voted for Trump were the whites. Thank the whites.
Thank the whites.
You know you don't thank the blacks, you thank the whites.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't thank the blacks, you thank the whites. Oh my gosh. Fucking South Park.
No, Family Guy.
Oh, fucking Family Guy. You gotta love these dumbass bullshits. Alright.
So my question is, when you see black people minding their business and then they get killed by the police, y'all want to dig up anything that they did 20 fucking years ago and say, oh, they were a criminal, they deserve to die.
True.
But then when you see one white bitch literally trespass, literally break her way through a government fucking building and she get her ass popped, y'all want to say that she's innocent? Y'all want to talk about say her name? Yes. We ain't saying her name, bitch. We ain't saying her fucking name.
I didn't even
y'all
know.
need to stop
I didn't
with
even
that
know
bullshit.
people were trying to do this whole say her name bullshit. I didn't even know that. That is not the same thing. People are stupid.
Forced diversity doesn't exist. There's no such thing. The concept of forced diversity implies that individuals who aren't a member of a society's dominant group need an excuse to exist in fictional media. And specifically that they need an excuse to exist at the center of a narrative without their identity being a plot point. But that's not how the world works. If you go to school with a gay black person, that's not forced diversity, that's just a type of person that exists, existing. So if you want to put gay or bi people, for example, into Star Wars, it's not forced diversity, it's just a type of person that can exist in this world, existing in this world. Unless there's a certain facet of the universe that prevents certain individuals from existing, there's really no reason to exclude anyone. Especially in a universe with as many different species and as many different cultures as Star Wars has. If anything, it would be more forced to argue that in the expansive universe of Star Wars, with aliens and advanced science and literal magic, that everyone just happens to conform to human ideas about sexuality and gender.
Heavy. Or at least these TikToks, they're kind of heavy. They're like talking about theory and philosophy. I kind of want to watch this one again. I'm like, I'm forcing diversity. It's just letting people exist. Letting people who are marginalized. Lost in the, what's the word? Lost in the sauce. Like, clearly the person who made that question has a different idea when they say forced diversity than this person. And this person basically spends a whole video explaining what do they categorize forced diversity. First of all, what's happening, people are just existing. But I feel like that person who made the question would be like, yeah, you're agreeing with me. Like, that's forced diversity. Like, everything you just said is forced diversity from that person's perspective. Cause you know why? I know why. I know why I'm thinking about this. Because, bro, that's such a small thing. Like, even if we have social justice and economic justice, and even if characters or actors in a movie are now more diverse in the sense that, or not diverse, but they're more inclusive because the space allows for other people to exist, even if that's happening, that's still not enough, because that's just like the idea of like hiring a person, like hiring black faces, for example, like this idea that like, oh, we're gonna hire black people so that they can do fake movies or they can fulfill that role. And they're saying basically like, oh, I don't like it when people force diversity. But at the end of the day, I feel like that's a debate in and of itself, but it's not about forcing diversity. It's about bringing equity. I think that's the thing. It's about bringing equity. It's about being able to share in. It's about being able to share in the winnings, because whenever we're talking about things like a movie industry, the movie industry makes billions of dollars each year. So who's making all that money? At the end of the day, it ends up being white executives who are older and who've been in the industry. So those white executives, they might hire queer people, black people, indigenous people, but at the end of the day, the fact that they're hiring these people is not really tipping the scale enough, because it's not about having the job, it's about owning it and it's about funding it. So, you know, at the end of the day, the person asking this question is like, needs a lot of catching up to do. Cause bro, come on, I'm leaps and bounds ahead of you, bro. What are you talking about? Talking about fucking forced diversity? Define what that means. Well, who's gonna just, it just bothers me, this question, because first you're gonna say forcing diversity, and who knows what the fuck that means. And then you're gonna say it's never good. Like, never? I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. Now you're saying it's never good? You sound like a religious person. Alright. This video was just interesting because it's just interesting. So
In 2016, Donald Trump was brought in to be the host of Saturday Night Live. Left-wing activists heavily criticized this decision, reminding SNL that they were giving a massive platform to a man who, at the time, had just recently called Mexicans coming over the border drug traffickers and rapists. But of course, SNL didn't care. The guy gets ratings, he's funny, he's weird.
SNL be shitty,
it's not like he's actually gonna win. right? So the mainstream media went ahead, airing Donald's rallies in full, putting him on every late-night talk show. And then when he actually won, every media talking head, every late-night talk show host suddenly turned to each other and said, how? How could this have happened? You made this happen. Donald Trump would have never been president if not for the neoliberal consensus that the news media exists to make money and draw ratings, not to report honest journalism. And believe me, when a destructive but entertaining politician rises once more, no lesson will have been learned. Democracy can go ahead and fall, so long as media corporations continue to bring in big ratings.
He reminds me of a homie I have. I mean, that's true. Damn. Colbert, Stephen Colbert. Did you ever know I have Trump on? No, huh? Yeah, bro. Giving people a platform.
Caribbean, they had seasoning plantations, which were plantations used to break the slaves. And
I'm not in my head because I already know this.
One place that had a lot of seasoning plantations was Jamaica.
I'm saying very true.
And
there's
people
facts.
have to wonder, what were they doing on these seasoning plantations that was worse than what was happening on the regular plantations? Well, one thing that they were doing on these plantations, especially in Jamaica, they were doing a process called buck breaking, where the white supremacist slave owner or the white supremacist overseer would literally rape black men in front of the whole black population in order to break his spirit, in order to break him down as a man, in order to show dominance against him, in order to show the rest of the black population that this is not your leader. I just made your leader submit to me sexually. And this happened a lot in Jamaica.
Yeah,
this
bro.
Is why
oh my gosh. That's such an interesting video. I sent you a video that was about two black guys kissing, and the context of the video is kind of like, oh, it's negative. It's just crazy how in places like Jamaica, you have, but it's not just Jamaica. It's kind of like well known that there were masters who were gay men who would end up raping black men. They're black slaves. They're African slaves. Well, were they African slaves? Yeah, they're African slaves.
I don't think it was about
queerness?
Sexuality.
No, of course it wasn't about sexuality, but I'm saying it was known. No, definitely, bro. But I'm saying, bro, these, if what's the word? They're definitely, these overseers, they're definitely fucking gay, though. For fucking them? You get what I'm saying? Because I'm saying, like, that's how strong.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not about
gayness, exactly. It's not about that. And that's why I'm bringing it up. Because, or at least that's the conflict. The fact that they view it like that. They're like, oh, or not they, but just the fact that the narrative, in the sense that now because that happened, and what I'm trying to say is that it didn't just happen in Jamaica. That it happened all over, and that's definitely that's definitely some gay shit, bro. Fucking a guy fucking another guy. It's definitely some gay shit. Like it's some gay shit. And what I'm saying is that some people look at it and be like, oh, that's why we shouldn't be gay today. And I'm like, bruh, but that's not how it's not about being gay or not. It's about power, and it's about basically torture, and about torturing them in this new way. Because rape is, in their way, just another way of torturing them, another way of, like they were saying, the seasoning process, which in case you don't know about the seasoning process, I guess I'll tell you real quick because I was shaking my head. Like, I'll tell you what seasoning process is. Basically, the process of having a freed African turn into an enslaved African or a slave. So that process is called the seasoning process. And if you want to know more, Google it, seasoning process. But there's like 5 steps to it or 6 steps to it. And by the end of it, the free African is supposed to now have submitted. Just like how they're saying in the video, they used rape as a way to have you submit, which is like I said, when you read about seasoning, they might not say that, but they do say that they're being tortured. And when you look more into what ways were they tortured, that was one way to torture them. But they would torture freed Africans in many different ways to convert them into slaves. Because a freed African was a fucking free person. They didn't want to be a slave, so they would fight. And they would fight and they would rebel. But at some point, the seasoning process was over. This is fucking disgusting. But I only know about it because I took African American history. Bro. But I think also what I'm trying to say, aside from just like explain seasoning process, is talk about like how like basically like shake my head at people who are trying to comment on homosexuality and use bucking, I think was what they call bucking, reference bucking, to then make the case that being homosexual is white supremacy. That to be homosexual is to have a link to white supremacy, which is not true in my opinion. I feel like I could argue that, but I guess I'm just trying to say like it's about two guys kissing, but they're like, it's like the person who posted it had a caption where it's like, oh, like this is horrible, like this is not what should be happening, this and that, and then people commenting are like, yeah, and then you get to forums where it's just people